Welcome to 1189, an online Bible commentary. My name is Tyler Marston, and today we're taking a look at Numbers chapter 32. God has given the Israelites a few victories in a row now, and they're marching on their way to the Promised Land. They're camping right now just east of the Jordan River, right on the boundary of Canaan. And as they're looking around at the cities they've taken over, those of Bashan and Moab and Midian, it starts to look pretty advantageous for some of the tribes to just stay here. Now, last time something like this happened, it resulted in disaster for the Israelites. But if it really does make more logical sense for the people to settle here instead of in Canaan, is God really going to force them to live in a land that isn't as suited for them? As we'll see, God does let some of the tribes settle early, and he really does have the people's best interests in mind. He is being faithful to his covenant and providing them a place to live. And yet, it doesn't always look like how we expect. It's not always in the place we expect. And as long as we're following him, that's okay. Now the sons of Reuben and the sons of Gad had an exceedingly large number of livestock. So when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that it was indeed a place suitable for livestock, the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben came and spoke to Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Adaroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elealeh, Sebam, Nebo, and Beon, the land which the Lord conquered before the congregation of Israel, is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. They said, If we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants as a possession. Do not take us across the Jordan. So 2 of the tribes out of the 12, specifically Reuben and Gad, they're really interested in actually living here and settling east of the Jordan, because the more open land could accommodate for their large numbers of livestock. So they get together and go and ask permission from Moses. Hey, do we really have to go live in the Promised Land? Couldn't we just stay here? On the one hand, it makes logical sense to settle in a city that you've already taken over, especially when living in that city is economically advantageous. But Moses is hesitant. But Moses said to the sons of Gad and to the sons of Reuben, Shall your brothers go to war while you yourselves sit here? Now why are you discouraging the sons of Israel from crossing over into the land which the Lord has given them? At first, Moses says no. It's not fair for 10 of the tribes of Israel to go and try and take the Promised Land while 2 get to sit behind in their already established cities. On top of that, Reuben and Gad staying behind might discourage the rest of Israel from going forward and pursuing the Promised Land as God had called them to do. And to settle all 12 tribes east of the Jordan? Well, that would be impossible. There's just not enough room. And the people would be settling in a land that God hadn't established for them. And surely Moses' hesitancy is a result of these flashbacks he's having from earlier in Numbers. This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the sons of Israel so that they did not go into the land which the Lord had given them. So the Lord's anger burned in that day, and he swore, saying, None of the men who came up from Egypt from 20 years old and upwards shall see the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. For they did not follow me fully, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun. For they have followed the Lord fully. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until the entire generation of those who had done evil in the sight of the Lord was destroyed. Now behold, you have risen up in your father's place, a brood of sinful men, to add still more to the burning anger of the Lord against Israel. For if you turn away from following him, he will once more abandon them in the wilderness, and you will destroy all these people. Moses does not want Reuben and Gad to commit the same sin that their fathers did. A generation ago, 40 years ago to be exact, there was another group of Israelites who wanted to settle for a land that wasn't the one God had promised to them. That story unfolded in Numbers 13 and 14. And God punished the Israelites for making them wander the wilderness for 40 years until everyone in that generation died out. Now the next generation is rising up, and they've been faithful so far to do everything God has said to do, but Reuben and Gad staying behind might just be a repetition of the same sin their fathers committed. Moses is afraid that these 2 tribes are wanting to stay behind because they aren't trusting God. He thinks they want to exchange hope in his promise for temporary satisfaction. If that really is what the tribes of Reuben and Gad are doing right now, they are going to make it worse for everyone. And that would be a tragedy given just how close they are. Then they came near to him and said, "We will build here sheepfolds for our livestock, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will be armed, ready to go before the sons of Israel, until we have brought them to their place, while our little ones live in the fortified cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our homes until every one of the sons of Israel has possessed his inheritance. For we will not have an inheritance with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this side of the Jordan, towards the east." In a little bit of a shocking twist, it's not that Reuben and Gad are disobeying or not trusting God. They promised to go with the rest of the armed men and fight for the promised land, fight for the rest of Israel's inheritance. They just want to build communities and fortifications for their livestock and their children here on the east side of the Jordan. They say that this land will be their inheritance from God, not a replacement for it. And they're not going to abandon their brothers to go fight while they get to relax. The tribes of Reuben and Gad are showing that it doesn't matter as much what you do, as much as it matters how you do it. Sure, they aren't settling in the promised land proper, but it's because this land really is the best land for their communities and for their families. The difference is, they aren't settling out of fear of enemies or out of a lack of trust in God. And that's evidenced because they're willing to go fight for their brothers' lands. So Moses said to them, "If you will do this, if you will arm yourselves before the Lord for the war, and all of you armed men cross over the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven his enemies out from before him, and the land is subdued before the Lord, then afterward you shall return and be free of obligation toward the Lord and toward Israel, and this land shall be yours for a possession before the Lord. But if you will not do so, behold, you have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build yourselves cities for your little ones, and sheepfolds for your sheep, and do what you have promised." The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben spoke to Moses, saying, "Your servants will do just as my Lord commands. Our little ones, our wives, our livestock, and all our cattle shall remain there in the cities of Gilead, while your servants, everyone who is armed for war, will cross over in the presence of the Lord to do battle, just as my Lord says." And so Moses ultimately allows the Reubenites and Gadites to settle on the east side of the Jordan. They will go and they'll build fortifications for their livestock and families, and then they will join up again with the rest of Israel to fight for Canaan. Moses does warn them, though. He says that if they break this treaty, if they break their promise, God will know about it, and he will keep them accountable. This all reflects the laws about oath-keeping that was found back in Numbers 30. But the leaders of Reuben and Gad maintain that they will be faithful to their promise. So Moses gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, and to Joshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers' households of the tribes of the sons of Israel. Moses said to them, "If the sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben, everyone who is armed for battle, will cross with you over the Jordan in the presence of the Lord, and the land is subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not cross over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan." The sons of Gad and the sons of Reuben answered, saying, "As the Lord said to your servants, so we will do. We ourselves will cross over armed in the presence of the Lord into the land of Canaan, and the possession of our inheritance shall remain with us across the Jordan." So Moses gave to them, to the sons of Gad, and to the sons of Reuben, and to the half-tribe of Joseph's son Manasseh, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, the king of Bashan, the land with its cities with their territories, the cities of the surrounding land. All of this is formally ratified into a covenant agreement between Moses and the sons of Israel and the Reubenites and the Gadites. Now, interestingly, Moses says that if they don't come and fight for Canaan, then their inheritance will actually be in Canaan alongside the rest of Israel. What this really shows is the faithfulness of God's covenant that he made with Abraham. Even if the Reubenites and Gadites break their promise, God will still provide them a place to live in the place he had promised to them. It just won't be the land that's actually best for them, where they've already established themselves. All the parties agree to this, and Moses dismisses the tribes of Reuben, of Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh, who apparently wanted in on this action. And the rest of the chapter splits up those 2.5 tribes, saying which cities they built and where their families settled. But don't miss the significance. The Israelites, the former slaves, they now have a place to call their own, only because of how God has delivered them. Throughout the rebellions, throughout the wanderings, God has stayed faithful to his people. He's keeping his promises, and he's providing a place for them to live. The tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of Manasseh get to experience that early. They settle right now, and they continue to dwell in this land east of the Jordan all the way until the exile. And so God is keeping his word. It just doesn't always look how we expect it to look. When we trust him, when we're committed to him, what we do and where we are isn't that important, because we have a confidence that when we are faithful, he will take care of us. Thanks for watching 1189. I hope that you have a good day, and God bless.